So if you have been with me from the beginning, you know that once upon a time, this channel was actually a mix of things. It was about my weight loss journey since I've had weight loss surgery. It was also about makeup, and then it was about wigs, and then wigs have kind of taken over my life. But there are still those other things going on, and I wanted to come in and check in with you guys because I know some of you guys still watch me and still kind of follow my weight loss journey, and talk to you guys about it now that I am almost 3 years out from my gastric sleeve surgery. I still have huge issues drinking water, and it really makes me sad because I love water so much. I know a lot of people that I talked to who are further along in their journey said that, 2 years out, 1 year out, you really start to notice a big difference in your body being healed. And there's a lot of things you can start doing again. And a lot of them don't have issues drinking water, but I still can't gulp down or chug water. I have to take little sips. If I take more than like 4 or 5 little sips, my husband freaks out because he'll look over me and I have to literally spit the 5th sip out because I physically can't swallow it. So drinking water is still an issue for me. Let me know if it's still an issue for you. I'm just really curious to kind of see, because I feel like it really varies based on each person, but it's still a huge problem for me. If you don't know what body dysmorphia is, it is a mental health disorder that makes you kind of hyper focus on a perceived flaw. So that can be anything really from feeling like you are super big when you're really small, or vice versa, or maybe you hyper focus on your lips or your nose. It can be really anything. For weight loss surgery patients, this can be really common because we are experiencing such a drastic change in weight, and a lot of times it happens relatively quickly. So for me, body dysmorphia has been something that I have struggled with from the beginning. I was 300 pounds at my heaviest, and I can say that now. In my previous video, I had a really hard time even admitting that I was that weight. But that's when I decided that I needed to have weight loss surgery. And now I am 135 pounds smaller, but I go through days, and I have days where I am so focused on my weight. I'm so focused on the scale. I am so focused on the way that I look, and I still feel like I'm 300 pounds, and I still look at myself in the mirror and see myself that way, even though I'm not. In my first video, I said that I had some articles of clothing that I kept from when I was heavy that had some sentimental, feeling for me, because they also meant something to me as well. And I, every once in a while, would take those out and just put them on so that I could really visualize and see how far I've come, and that, I am a lot smaller, even though I might not feel like it that day. And that sounds like maybe a very odd thing for someone to feel, but a ton of people go through this every day. And it's something, like I said, even almost 3 years out, I still deal with it on a daily, weekly basis. And I still kind of do the same stuff. I still have 1 or 2 pieces of clothing that I will put on, or really looking at photos helps me a lot. Just kind of visualizing something and putting that actual visualization together. So any of those kind of coping mechanisms that I've kind of figured out, I'm still doing those even 3 years out. And I have a feeling it's something that I probably will, have to figure out for a very long time. You eat less food, but it costs not the same, but more. And nowadays, that's even more true. I first did this video, I was a year out maybe, and this is 2 years in. And there are tons and tons of amazing keto options out there, which is great, but they're not cheap. They're quite expensive. I think that our food budget has definitely gone up just to kind of keep those healthy things that I know that I need to keep eating in the house. So make sure that if you are first starting out thinking about having the surgery, that is an expense that is going to be lifelong. I know that a lot of people have had this surgery and not been successful. And in a lot of those cases, it's because they weren't equipping themselves with the things that they needed to have around them to make good choices and to make healthy choices. So it's definitely an expense that you want to make sure that you're prepared for, because it doesn't go away. This is something that I really struggled with in the beginning of my weight loss surgery. I had really, really bad acid reflux up until about 5-6 months out. And at that point I went to my doctor because I was literally just miserable. and I ended up getting scoped, and they had to actually stretch out like a stricture that can happen in like the stomach area where they like cut the stomach part off. It's some medical thing that happens. So they went in and had to stretch it out. And then I didn't really have any issues for a really long time until recently. The last, I would say about 6 months, I have had a lot of acid indigestion and it's not going away. So I'm now in the process, because I know from last time that it really didn't go away without something. I'm now going to the doctor, and I'm, taking Protonics again, and I'm having to take medications right now to kind of help figure out if that helps. And if it doesn't, I'll have to get scoped again, and I'm sure they'll have to go in and do something. So acid reflux is a really, really, really common side effect with sleeve surgery. And they do say that if you have it more commonly before you have surgery, it might not be the best surgery for you to have, because it can be worse afterwards. And that is definitely something that I feel like I'm dealing with. I didn't have terrible acid indigestion when I, was heavier and before I had surgery, but I did have it here and there. And I think now I'm getting to the point where it's just really bad. So hopefully we can figure it out with some type of medical thing, but know that the only real way sometimes to get rid of it, if it's that bad, because it's not something that they want you to constantly have, because it can cause other issues and damage other things inside of your body, is you have to get a revision to gastric bypass, which I'm hoping and praying I can, do other things to kind of just keep it at bay so I don't have to do that. But that is definitely something that can happen. It's something that they don't, I feel like, talk to you enough about. So I just want to make sure to keep that in mind, or ask your doctor questions, especially if you're someone who has acid indigestion or heartburn a lot now and you're thinking about having surgery. Make sure you bring that up, because it's super, super important for your long-term success with this tool. You are going to have a very drastic change in your appearance in the first year, especially the first 8 months. That's when you're going to lose the most weight. And then after a year, what happens is everything starts to kind of settle and things start to kind of figure out where they're going to be. And unless you're doing some type of cosmetic surgery, which a lot of people do have skin removal and things like that, I have not done that. So I have a lot of things in new places that I didn't have before. I know in my first video, I brought up my arm situation and they're still going strong. My husband was like, oh, they're not as bad. And I was like, no, they are. They're still flying. Shapewear will be your best friend. I love shapewear. I've really come to find really great brands because shapewear has become a part of my life. So that's definitely something to just keep in mind when you're going through the process of deciding if you want to do this or not. The first year, I will say I felt hungry in a different way than I would say the traditional way of feeling hungry is. If you've had weight loss surgery, you kind of understand, but you almost feel hungry and also full, like in your throat and your chest, not in your stomach. Like it happens before it even gets there. Like if I'm full, my nose starts running, my whole chest feels like I'm just full here. And then also when I'm hungry, I start getting almost bubbling and gurgling and things like that, and hunger pain here. It's very weird. If you've had weight loss surgery, you're probably going, oh, yep, I know what that feels like. But if you haven't, it's a very weird sensation. And that did definitely happen to me probably for the first year, maybe even year and a half. But now I feel intense hunger pains, especially if I'm really bad and I eat larger portions the day before because I've stretched my stomach out a little bit. I will feel super hungry. And I also still will feel sometimes where I feel full even though I'm not full. And the fullness I still feel up here, but the hunger is definitely in my stomach now. So the whole, you won't feel hungry after weight loss surgery, if someone told you that, the chances of that for you are probably very slim. Maybe you won't, but you definitely are going to feel hungry, which means you're going to have to make sure you're still making really good choices, even in times of feeling that hunger pain that you're having. So as someone who is 300 plus pounds, wherever you're at, you're going to carry yourself differently. You're going to hunch, or you're going to carry your weight in different ways. And as you lose weight and as weight shifts on your body, you have to figure out how to shift your body. Because if you don't, you're going to end up feeling a lot of pain just in different places. So when I was really heavy, I always felt knee pain. I felt leg pain. I felt a lot of lower back pain. And then I would always feel pain right across like my upper back where like your bra strap area is, because I had, you know, a heavier chest and I was carrying around a lot more weight in those areas. So now that I'm much lighter, I'm not carrying the weight in those areas, and I had to teach myself not to almost baby myself in the way that I was before, to kind of, you know, make myself stand up a little bit straighter, because I don't, you know, have all that weight there and I can do that. I have to remind myself to do those things, because if you don't, you're gonna be sore just in different parts of your body, because you're then trying to, you know, it's very weird. You're trying to accommodate for the weight that you've lost, but you're still feeling like you're carrying the weight that you had. So it's a whole mind change that you have to make, and it can take a long time, and it's still something I struggle with now. I've always been a huncher. It's been something that I've just always done because I was always heavier. I always had like that bump on the back of my neck. My neck always hurt, and I was always hunching like this. I felt like it maybe hid some of, you know, the areas I was insecure about. And so I would always just kind of hunch like this. And I still, to this day, Stanley yells at me all the time. I have to like roll my shoulders back, and then I feel really weird because I feel like I'm like, this feels very unnatural, but this is how you should be standing. When you're obviously losing a ton of weight, you're gonna lose weight, you know, in your stomach and in places that you obviously know you're going to, your face, everywhere like that. But what you don't realize is you're going to lose weight in your feet. My feet are now officially 2 sizes smaller than they were at my heaviest weight, and your fingers are gonna get smaller. I started at a 10 ring size, and I'm now on my 10. I was a 10 on my ring finger, and I'm now a 6.5. This ring is a 7, and it's too big. So it's definitely. Food is still such an important part of your life. It's just in a different way. And before, when I first answered this question, I answered it as more of a newly found weight loss person who was still dealing with a lot of the strictures and things that my body were stopping and helping me make good choices. And now I can say, almost 3 years out, as those things kind of have gone away and I still feel hunger pains, and I kind of know what I can eat more of and what I can eat less of. And there's what you call slider foods. And I know that if I drink some water and then I wait, it's gonna flush the food down. Like, there's all these things that you're gonna figure out that you shouldn't know, because it's not gonna help you with your journey, but they're there. And 3 years out, now that my body is still, not to say it doesn't help, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I have overeaten or eaten more than I should have, and I will physically get sick still, but I can put a whole lot more in my body than I could before I would get sick. So just know that it's a lot harder. Food is more important now. I have to really make conscious choices to stick to what I know, to really hone in and kind of lean in on the stuff that's worked for me for the last 2 years. Know that, like, if you trust this process and you stick to it, and it's a lifelong commitment, it is, and you do all those things, you're gonna get where you wanna be, and you're gonna stay where you wanna be. But if you aren't using the tool properly and you aren't making good choices, especially now that I can make bad choices, you're gonna gain and lose that 10 to 20 pounds that you keep wanting to try to get rid of. That's what's gonna happen. So make sure that food is still really important to you, just in a different way. I still, you know, have a really hard relationship with food when it comes to my emotions. I'm an emotional eater. When I'm having a bad day, I want to eat bad food, or I want to just eat. I don't care what it is. And I have to remember that that is not the relationship I want with food, because that relationship with food is what got me to the point where I needed to have weight loss surgery in the first place. So I do, here and there, know that I need little things, and I will give myself those things in moderation. And if I feel like I need to rein it in, I will reset, and I'll go back to what I know. I'll go back to my protein shakes, and I'll go back to my full keto. And I kind of know that I just need to reset myself. So know that, if you mess up and you eat something you shouldn't, it's okay. You can reset, you can restart. You know, you don't all of a sudden now have to just eat bad all the time because you made one mistake. So it's not easy. It's definitely something that you have to make a lifelong commitment to. It's a tool. Anybody who tells you this is the easy way out, or something that you kind of, you know, you didn't do it the real way, it's definitely not the case. Don't listen to what they're saying. They have no idea what they're talking about, because it's definitely something that is not easy. It's something that I deal with every single day. and I have physical things happen because of my surgery as well, which is a whole added thing on top of the weight loss and all of that. So know that it's not easy. It's not the easy way out. And if you've made this decision, good for you for taking your health back in your hands and making that decision. And if it's something you're thinking about doing, I get asked all the time if I regret having weight loss surgery, and I will 100% tell you absolutely not. I regret not doing it sooner. So know that there's also a ton of people out there who have gone through this. This is becoming a much more kind of popular thing for insurance companies to cover, because in the long run, it costs them less money because they're not having to prescribe you all these medications and you're not having all these medical issues due to your weight. So this is definitely something that's more accessible to more people. And because of that, more people are having it done. So there's a really, really awesome community out there. If you're looking for a community of people who have been through it, I will put like all the groups that I'm in and that I know of in the comments or in the description down below for you guys. If you guys have any that you recommend, put them in the comments down below for anybody who's looking as well. And I'm always here if you guys have questions too. You can always email me. You can message me on Instagram, wherever you know that I'm at. If you ever have a weight loss question, even if it's not a wig question, I'm still here for weight loss questions. I'm here for makeup questions. I love all those things and I'm very passionate about all those things. And I want to help other people succeed in those things. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next one.